It's Ashleigh from Sweet Dreams Bake Shop, and today I have another sugar cookie video for you. And obviously, because this is a character sugar cookie video, I need to hand cut out all of my characters. What I usually like to do is I like to print these off of the internet and then I just cut them out. I generally make sure that they have the correct colors that I want as well, because I look at these as I create the cookies. I am using my classic tried and true sugar cookie recipe, which is in that right hand corner there. It is fairly no spread, but whenever I am making character sugar cookies that have maybe a little bit more definition, I do put all of the cutout sugar cookies on their cookie sheets into the fridge for at least 15 minutes before baking. Whenever I am recreating characters, I really like to make sure that it looks almost exactly, and this is a little bit more easy because it's from a book, and all of the book drawings have a slight black outline. So we're actually going to be outlining every single cookie in black today. This piping icing is fairly thick because it is piping consistency, not pipe and fill consistency. There is a difference. This type of consistency I would use for writing or for anything that needs to be quite detailed. And if you do make a mistake during this point, it's all good. You can just go ahead and scrape it off with your cookie scribe and retry it again, because most likely any of the mistakes that you're going to make won't show up because you'll cover it with that flooding icing later on. You do need to keep in mind that some of this detailing will get covered up a little bit by the flooding icing. It all depends on the consistency of your flooding icing and how loose it is, and that will determine how much black you will need to add in later on. Now I am freehanding all of the images here, but there are ways to do this even without a projector. Of course, if you have a projector and you rather project the image on, then you can do that. I actually find it a little bit tricky to work with the projector because I find that my hand gets in the way sometimes. So if you are new to piping, it can be a little bit trickier, I find. I've seen it done though where you can take some tissue paper or something that's really, really thin, and then you can have your edible image printed on there. Then you put that over top of your cookie and use an edible marker, and then that edible marker will bleed through. So then you get that image that you need to trace, and it's all completely edible. I just don't know how to set up my printer so that that will work. I also just find it a lot less work to do it this way, which is why I end up eyeballing a lot of the things that I do. I also must apologize, my friends, if you can hear some random sounds in the background. It is a little bit of a noisy day at my household today. For years, I struggled with icing that had craters in it, or that had holes in it, or that was too flat and not puffy. So if you want to watch my video on how I fix those issues with my flooding icing and how I dry my cookies super quick, go ahead and click that video at the right-hand corner. Fun fact about gray colorings. Now, ordinarily, you would probably think that you just add a drop of black and call it a day, but I found with lots of brands of coloring, this doesn't actually work. And if your colorings are a little bit older, I find it is even more difficult. So the way that I actually did this was, yes, I did add a drop of black to white. I also added a little bit of white food coloring. Then I also added a little bit of yellow, and I add a slight hint of purple. And I have done this so many times that I can tell you this is the only way to keep your gray gray. If you don't add all of those different things, then the gray always dries a little bit purple or a little bit bluish. So that yellow and that purple somehow balance that all out and actually keep your cookies gray. Coloring sugar cookies can actually be really difficult because of the way that the icing sometimes dries. Depending on what brand you're using, the color can actually change. So even if you've nailed the color during the mixing process, once you apply it on there and it has had that time to dry and set, it often will change colors. So if you are wanting something really, really particular, I really suggest that you watch my video that I previously suggested that will help you not only dry your cookies faster, but for some reason the color actually stays more true to however you mixed it in the first place. Decorating sugar cookies is a series of making sure that everything is dry and then adding your layers on top. So I really made sure that everything was super, super dry. And if you've ever had an issue with bleeding color, especially black, then the problem is that you're not letting everything super, super dry underneath before adding in that black color. This little elephant is named Gerald, I believe, so we're just adding in all of Gerald's details with a little bit of edible marker. You'll also notice that I did add on more icing to the trunk area so that it really pops out. The key to getting these perfect oval shapes is to squeeze your piping bag and let that icing drop down. Do not drag your bag through the icing. And then when you want to release, you just stop squeezing. Creating sugar cookies is also all about deciding what parts are going to be super puffy, what parts are going to be flat. Today, I'm deciding to make his eye puffy, but I could have very well done this just flat and filled it in with edible marker. It's really up to you. The beak of the pigeon is kind of a little bit nondescript in color, so I just decided to paint it gold to add that little bit of glimmer for the party. So this is what those cookies turned out to look like. All of those number 2s that have a little bit of sparkle on them are just sanding sugar that I applied when the icing was still wet. When I was running my at-home bakery business, I always tried to sneak in a little extra special cookie if I had time for the recipient of these cookies. So right now I'm just airbrushing this cookie in the same colors that I used for the original cookies. And now I'm adding some edible black marker just to make those lines really defined and to give it more of a cartoony look. And later on, I'm going to be adding on the recipient's name. If you are fairly sparing with the airbrush, then it dries very quickly and you can go ahead and write on it right away. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe so you can be part of the Sweetie fam. Right now, I'm uploading daily, so make sure you hit that notification bell so you know when I upload. Also, be sure to comment, request, or ask a question. I love hearing from you guys. Bye!